Alright, so let's have a look at a maximum value now. So the maximum value, there's really only one extra step that you need to do. You generally will be told in the question if you're finding a maximum or a minimum, but you need to make sure you read the entire question, because most of the time it's the last part of your question here. So let's have a look at, before we go any further, answering some of these questions here. It asks you which flavour is Jill's favourite flavour.
Raspberry.
Raspberry, okay? So you get a lot of questions like this where it asks you to interpret the values you have in this here. Another question might say, well, what does the number 3 mean in row 4, column 4? What does the 3 represent? In this case, it represents that Samantha prefers 3 is her least favourite flavour is orange.
She gave it a 3 out of 10.
Yeah, so that's her least favourite. So what does it represent? It represents that's her least favourite flavour. Okay, so we can't say she gave it, you can say she gave it a 3 out of 10, but what does the 3 out of 10 mean? It means it's her least favourite. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
So these are things when it comes to interpreting what they mean itself. When it comes to finding a maximum, the first step we have to do is we need to subtract all values from the highest or from the greatest value in the matrix. So in this case, the greatest value in here is 10. So what we're going to do here is we're going to subtract every single number in here away from 10. So for instance, if we look at this here, what I mean is we're going to say, well,
2.
this first one will just be 10 minus 2, 10 minus 6, 10 minus
Do you
5.
mean 10 minus 8?
Oh, I get
Which
the
will
answer.
equal to?
10 minus 10 and 10 minus 8. Same thing down here. 10 minus 2, 10 minus 3, 10 minus 7, 10 minus 5, and 10 minus 8. And you do it for every single number. Okay? So in this case here, we end up with 2, 4, 5, 0, 2,
1, 3, 6, 4, 3. So proud of myself.
We call this here the Hungarian prepared matrix.
Hungarian.
The matrices that we call them, they're all called Hungarian matrices. But this here is now the prepared Hungarian matrix. Okay, so in this question here, when it says write down the matrix that the Hungarian algorithm must be applied to, that's it here. So what I want you to write on that green sheet that I gave you is above it, maybe write, when finding the maximum, do this step first. Okay? So when finding the maximum, we're going to do this step here first. Then all other steps are exactly the same as finding the minimum. Okay?
Didn't we do that for minimum?
No. The minimum, we took away the lowest value from each row. Okay? This time we're taking away every number from the highest value or the greatest value in that matrix. So above here again, make sure you just write it. When finding maximum, do this step first.
Subtract all those.
Or yep, from the greatest value in the matrix. Alright, what I want you to have a go at now by yourselves is now find out what the maximum value is going to be. Find the optimal solution for maximum value. So you're going to follow those steps. Step 1, minus the rows. Step 2, minus the columns. Step 3, do your lines. See if you can get 5 lines. Don't force the 5 lines. Okay, they'll come if you need it. If you get the 5 lines, step 6, allocate the preferences. Alright, So I'll give you guys about 30 or so seconds to go ahead. And with the magic of television, we'll see you in a minute, Lucy.